We're going to look at how this particular claim for Betty and Joe Patrick was worked up. We click Go to the reporter, takes us over to the reporter. As on some other screens, you've got an overview of how this data is processed on this particular screen. You've got the reporter, or the reports, where once the claim is worked up, it's printed here. First, normally you will enter data going from left to right on these tabs. There are going to be some exceptions. For instance, on the NFIP, for doing the preliminary, you do that while you're there, and before you would do maybe even the estimate in most cases. So, but in general, you go left to right. So we start with the risk. We come to this screen. We click the plus button as here. It brings up a screen for a new risk information. Enter the appropriate coverage. In this case, we're just going to duplicate what we did up above. We go to we can delete it later. Click over here. We go. This is a risk valuation. Once again, we've got the overview. We go to type, so we'll go down to single family residence. This may not be what we did before, but I'm going to select it. 4 corners, and this is taken from the Craftsman valuation database. The age, let's say it's 15 years old, and the condition when it was built, the condition now is, let's say it's good. That will automatically create a depreciation percentage, which we can manually override if we want to below. But that's a starting point. Construction quality, we click this button for construction quality. We've got 6 options here under single family residence. And we're going to go, let's say this is good standard, which is a class ID of 4. We've got one other bit of information we need to enter in order to do the valuation. That's the location multiplier. And here we've got some options. Other is the rest of the state other than what's shown here. Well, let's say this is in Rocky Mount. We click the 108. It's going to put this multiplier in effect. You would also want to, for underwriting status, you have a spot here. Upkeep, spot here, and any comments you want to make. Then you click the plus button. It enters the information from above in this location. Let's say we're on our main floor here. It's maybe the only floor. It's one-story building. We didn't enter that up here, but there's a place for entering the number of floors. It does not enter into these calculations directly, so it's optional, but it does show up in the caption report. So we got the main floor here, and then we want to enter the area. So we've got to click this button, section area entry. This is just once again, the main floor. You can enter whatever you want to there, or you'd leave it blank. Same with configuration. There are options here for calculating non-rectangular configurations, such as triangular and elliptical. I'm not going to go into that right now, but you can read about it in here if you come across it. It's rare that you would use it, but it's available if you need it. Length, let's say it's 50 feet. Width is 24. And we've got our area. Maybe there's an offset. And it's, we can manually change that if we want to. Say offset. And then come back and whoop, we do other. And maybe you've got a 16 foot by 12 foot offset off the back. You're done here, you go back to the evaluation. Click this button and it will enters the information and pulls the square footage figure here. You've got your depreciation amount here, or depreciation percentage here, which you can override. Let's say we think it's in really good shape. It should have only been 15%. So we change that and this changes. Or you can see here. So that gives us an RC and an ACV valuation of the property. There's more to this. I won't go into it right now. There's a place for diagrams. There's no built-in diagramming in the program. However, there is, for about $8, you can download a app for the iPad, which you can take you about a couple hours playing around with it to learn to do pretty decent looking diagrams, which can be saved and then inserted right here. I'll show you that a little later, but for right now, I just wanted you to see that there's a spot for it here. Let's go back to our reporter here. I'm going to delete all this because it's redundant, and but we will go to the one we created previously. I wanted to show you this. The porch is calculated a little differently. It's one of several items which generate a script in figuring out the square footage. Covered porch number 3 has a raised level with a ceiling. That's like a screen porch. And you want it to be valued separately from the rest, because what happens on the valuation, we'll look up here at the building square foot area pricing category. The pricing drops based on these square footages. So a small square footage is going to have a higher unit price figured right here, or shown here, $67.99. It's going to have a higher price than if we had a larger area. What the Yes button does is allow us to manually select areas that we don't want to add and be added to that total amount, and thereby cutting the evaluating on a square footage basis. It might not be reasonable. This is just for information purposes only. It doesn't interact with the calculations, but it is this shows the category sizes that apply to here, lower quality manufactured home. So we'll go over here to diagram, and you can see a diagram that was created in iDesign on the iPad and saved to the photos on iPad, and then if we were on the iPad, we would click here, and there's a similar screen or dialogue which allows you to insert the picture and takes you to there. You click on it and it inserts it here. Okay, we'll go back. If you want to look at what the product looks like, here's your risk report. So after that's done, you can take photos. Of course, you can do this while you go. On the iPad, basically, you would touch this field here. You'll get a a dialog or a menu that pops up and asks you if you want to insert a photo or or use the camera. Use the camera, and it will show you the. You'll see what you're taking a picture of. You can select the size. In most cases, small to medium is big enough resolution for these purposes, and also keeps the size of the files down. That will go anywhere from maybe 40K to, or even less, up to a megabyte or more if it's high resolution. So you would take your photo there, then you go to this place field here, and you can select your room that you're taking, and if you want to add a text, you can do that here. This button over on the side allows you, if you are on the desktop and you've taken your photos, they'll be stored in the program or embedded in the program. When you get back on the desktop, you can click this button and it'll switch it to external storage. It will create a folder named for whatever file you're working on and store the photos in there in a form that will allow you to, if you had to go back out, you can switch the storage back the other way and take them with you. If you want to call through and leave something out, you can just select it, click the delete button, it will remove it, and then you click the do it button up here and it'll repaginate or renumber the photos. And if you want to resort the photos, you change the photo numbers and click this button, and it's going to resort them to whatever order you want them in for your report. The final product will look like this.